clue about pacing for the most part. You know, how many panels on a page, you know, that a panel shows one action, you know, you can't have somebody walk into a room and light a cigarette. He's gonna be in the room lighting the cigarette, or, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta think in image like that. The way I write a script is I tend to write all the dialogue first, and then I break it down.
The conversations are what you're hearing
Yes,
first.
because I think that the dialogue, for me, has to carry the story, you know.
That's the only part of your work that shows up on the page, that actually interacts with the reader directly. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, panel descriptions, that's for the artist.
Mm-hmm.
The back and forth, that's for the reader.
Yeah.
How often-
I also tell people, like read Hemingway. Hemingway's the guy, if you want to write comics, because he says a lot with very few words. I think there's nothing that like makes me put a comic book down quicker than word balloons all over a page. It's like, oh God, that poor artist. Why'd you do that to him?
Yeah. Are any of your scripts available online somewhere?
They must be.
I was
don't
going to
know.
say at brianazzarello.com.
No, I don't have that.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't put them out there. Usually when I think they've been published in like some of the collections.
Yeah.
You know, some of
Yeah.
the absolute stuff. It's like embarrassing. It's like, oh my God, people must think like I'm ripping them off because there's so few words on it. Scripts.
I knew a guy once who said that a silent script meant the writer didn't really write. I was like, you
Oh,
don't
that's
understand.
way harder.
Yeah. Like, you don't understand how a comic book works then.
Yeah.
But there are comic scripts out online. Those are useful to get an idea of the feel for what you're doing. Because it's not a movie script. It's not a prose story. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been this debate online and in comic shops and stuff in the past 15, 20 years about like the single issue serials going away, it's not going to be trades, all TV movies are taking over, and other people are like, we've had this debate forever, it's still going to be there, the fans are going to be there. So in that pendulum, are you an alarmist? Do you see change? I mean, do you just stay out of the conversation?
You know what? I do stay out of the conversation, but it's been like that forever. You know, the direct market has been collapsing since I started writing comics.
and before that, it was the
And probably-
previous thing was collapsing, which brought the direct market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the sky's not falling.
Yeah. Comics been dying since the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the, you know.
I mean, meanwhile, you've got there's more comics being published now than ever before. There's too many.
Plus, you've got everything on the web with people doing good, bad, and indifferent stuff there. I mean, the volume is almost impossible
it's
to keep
huge.
up with.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good because it's a lot of different viewpoints, and it's bad because there's too much and you can't get to everything, and a lot of it you shouldn't even be getting to because it's being done by people that really aren't ready to be doing it, but they're doing it anyway because you can do it now. So, I mean, there's a lot of, which is cool because that's real punk rock, but there's some things that you need to hone your craft with.
Yeah. Because
Things aren't curated like they should be, said the old man.
But it's, you wouldn't want, like, the very first script you ever wrote, you wouldn't necessarily want somebody, you know, out there going like, hey, let me dissect this.
No.
Yeah.
But it happens, so I can't worry about that. So
What do you like doing in your downtime, or do you feel like you're always working and always planning for your next thing?
you know, I was thinking about that recently, and I'm always working.
You're always
But it's like, I think that just comes with working in a creative field. You're always like,
on
you're
your
always
next-
on, yeah.
When you travel, outside the country, do you feel you get more inspiration doing those travels? Do you feel you're better in one place where you're?
No, traveling's fine. I love it.
Gives you more ideas?
Yeah, I can work in a hotel, no problem.
Right.
I've been
People
working here
watching.
this,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna throw in a question about his work for animation. Does anybody want to hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the challenges of doing that and transitioning from the very personal, I feel, to comics is a very personal aspect as opposed to working animation? It seems like it's a bigger machine. I could be entirely wrong.
They took the script and then I was done.
There you go.
So it was actually, the difference was it was not collaborative, even though there were so many more people working on it.
Mhm.
You know, I wrote the script, sent it in, notes came back, fixed it, and then they said, well, we're gonna take a crack at this. And I'm like, no, let me fix this. No, don't worry about it. And then 9 months later, it's like, here's a DVD. I'm like, oh, shit. It's like, you did it. And then I watched it and like, that's my script.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like, so they didn't change things that they said they were gonna change.
How much editorial interference do you get?
Apparently not enough.
Although I think your popularity and your sales would say otherwise.
I don't get a lot of interference. I
Yeah.
don't get any interference.
Okay.
Until, well,
Until you
I think there'll be some interference in my future.
Don't the directors call
What director?
on the animation directors? They don't call for advice or something, they just take it and plow through it?
Yeah, those guys are pros, you know, they know what they're doing. And they work so fast. The first thing I did in animation was, what the hell was that called?
Gotham Knights or?
Gotham Knights, was
Yeah.
that what it was called? Dark Knights or something, I forget. It was a bunch of short stories. It was actually one story, but it was a bunch of short stories. And it was put out to coincide, I think, with, was it the third Dark Knight or the second? I don't
I
remember.
think it was the Dark Knight, which is the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was, I got a call from, man, who was behind that one? Anyway, Jonathan Nolan, I ended up talking to him, who was Christopher Nolan's brother, co-wrote the screenplays, and they're like, we're doing this, we want to involve you, I like what you do, are you interested? It's like, you gotta give me like 12 minutes. I think it was something. And here's the chapters, we're gonna do this. And what, does any of this interest you? I said, oh yeah, I think that I like to do the flashback thing, that might be fun. And he said, okay, great, we need it next week.
Oh.
And I went, what? And at the time, I was on vacation. Well, it wasn't really vacation, it was one of those like traveling vacations.
Mhm.
Like I was at a show in Mantova, in Italy. And then the following week, I was in Barcelona for that show there.
Yeah.
And I spent that week, I didn't see, Barcelona had a nice hotel room.
You get like the little shot outside your window, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I
and
can
like
see that on TV.
walking to the
Yeah.
walking to the convention, like doing what I had to do there, and then back and doing the script, and getting it done.
You've run into that with like in a lot of shows. You feel like, oh, I know this city, and then you realize I don't really know this city. I've just been there a lot of times and not done anything there.
Well, now I make sure I pad these trips.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not leaving Baltimore till Tuesday morning
Okay.
because I want a day just to hang around.
Take the wire tour.
So geeks, we all think a certain way. So there's always been a certain amount of deconstruction and criticism in the community. But in your decades, doing these comics, have you seen the reaction to controversy change? I mean, obviously, comics are more mainstream to the point where that Batman panel was on, Colbert and the late night shows and stuff. But in general, have you seen a change, or has it always been the same way and it's just magnified now?
Well, there's more outlets, and information is disseminated like really fast.
You don't have to send a letter to the editor.
Yeah. I mean, that just blew up in a day. Like, Wednesday morning was very different than Wednesday night when that happened. We were not trying to create a pop culture event, but we did. And wish DC would be reacting differently.
Did you ask to be put on Black Label as the first issue or the first series, or did they ask you?
No, we were, I think, always meant to be the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Black Label kind of spun out of Joker, the book that Lee and I did. Because when that came out, it was really successful, better than they thought it was going to do. And so there was talk about, we should do this on a regular basis, with these slightly, skew them a little bit adult, that kind of stuff. And at the time, everybody was calling it Jokerverse at DC. And it was just called the Joker. That was why that was a
Working title.
It was just a placeholder. And at the people who were, what happened? Why didn't we go ahead with that? I don't know. It took a long time, but then here we are. And now everybody knows what Black Label is. And I hope DC takes advantage of this. I think right now they're being very short-sighted.
Did you always intend Constantine to be the narrator, or was that? Later?
No, I didn't always. But when I thought of it, and I ran it past Lee, I said, like, Lee, I think I'm going to have John narrate this. And he was like, yes. It's like, that changes everything. It's like, that makes it a very different Batman story. Because most of these Batman stories, it's like, it's all narrated by him.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, having John talk about Batman, Bruce Wayne, what drives him, it's like, that's a really interesting take. It's fun to write John again. It really is.
Anyone? Okay, 1 sec. Just wanted. Yeah. Okay, we're going back.
Sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to.
that's no weird.
So continuing with the black label, and I don't remember if Marvel's adult label is still active or not, but
Max.
yeah. Comic book fans are growing up. What do you see as the extra space that you get by having an adult label where you can kind of do different things for the older readers?
I thought it was good. I think it's a good idea, and it's like, it's going to, look, Joker's coming out, that's going to be R, right? And Deadpool is R. There's you can do this stuff for adults, and it should be done. I mean, when they said, I asked Dan, I said, how far can I go? It's like, what are you really looking for? He's like, I don't know. I said, like HBO. He said, yes, HBO, that's perfect, because that's what I'm gonna tell everybody. You go, like, that's how far you can go, like an HBO series.
Apparently not. So, because every once in a while.
Well, apparently not.
Yeah, every once in a while. Now, I don't know, like at DC, but sometimes people say, oh, I want it to be, a real mature readers thing, and they mean a couple of F-bombs.
Yeah.
It's like, That's,
Well, yes. And,
or a decapitation, or some, you know, the.
oh, decapitation's fine.
Yeah.
You know? You can shoot Nightwing in the head. You can have Wally West go postal. But you can't.
We have an interesting society.
Yes, we do. Oh, my God. I was in Glasgow at a show last week. To quote the president, they're laughing at us. They couldn't believe what's going on over this.
My dad came from Scotland. I'm so proud of that country and their reaction to.
But, I mean, Lee was over, Lee lives in Italy, and he's friends with Milo Manara. So he was over Manara's this past week, and Manara was just like, he said he was just like cackling, laughing. And going back to the F-bombs, Batman doesn't swear. You know, when I was writing it, it's like, you know, that's like my default word. And I put it in it was, and it's like, wait a minute, he doesn't say that. It's like, that just doesn't sound right coming out of his mouth. John says it, but, you know, so it's in the book, but it's not Batman saying it. That just doesn't ring true. For me. I'm sure he's gonna say it in somebody's.
Yeah. But you know.
Actually, is it Nightwing or Robin? Who gets to say it? Is it in that Titans?
Oh, well, he's still Robin.
He's still Robin? It's still Robin says, fuck Batman?
Do you have other ideas for future Black Label books should it continue to be successful?
Yes. I've already got a pitch in for one for next year.
Sugar and Spike.
Yeah, they're old and they live in a nursing home, but they're still chasing each other.
Pardon me?
So voice actor for Ferland Rider.
No, it's not in here.
Oh, where is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably one of the other panel rooms. Sorry.
That's later, I think. It's that one.
So like,
Did you have a voice acting question?
Yes, several, if that's okay.
Shoot.
With Cage, the Max book that you did, I think that's kind of like it's a gem that I feel like more people should know about. When you see like the stuff that's been drawn, or have you seen the stuff that's kind of been drawn from that over the past few years? I think like a lot of the work that you put into that book has been like extrapolated into the TV show, the new books. Do you get any sort of validation from that, or is that something you just kind of say, I've done what I've done and I've just moved on from that?
Yeah. I say I've done what I've done, you know. And I haven't watched the TV show.
Do you have a hard time kind of like following a book or a book or reinterpretation of a character that you've worked on? That like once you've worked on it, is it hard to check out other people's versions?
I intentionally don't for a while, just because I don't want to know, because I don't want to have an opinion about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because usually, like it happened, Wonder Woman, certainly. It was like, have you read da-da-da-da, what do you think? It's like, nope, haven't read it, so I don't know. It's just better for everybody if I don't know. I know nothing.
Well, the great thing now is if someday, somewhere down the line, you want to check it out, there are collections.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably never write her again, but I don't. Yeah.
Is that because you feel you said everything you want to say about Wonder Woman, or?
Yeah. You know, and they went back. I hate that. It's just like that's the wrong direction. You know, Always go forward.
If you're gonna allow change, leave the change. If you
Well, keep changing.
Yeah.
Don't, I mean, like, keep changing, don't go back, you know?
don't just push reset.
That's just, yeah, that's just not my, that's, you know, all those, like the George Perez stories, which are great, but I didn't want to write the George Perez stories, because George Perez already did it. You know, it's just like, do something new.
We actually still have about 8-10 minutes, so, you know, keep them coming. Anybody new? I'll sit in Dan pester him for the rest.
It's not custom.
So, yeah, I guess that's what I'm supposed to be doing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, no, I mean, this has been good so far. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying myself.
Is there, do you ever do prose work anymore?
No, I don't have time.
Yeah. So is that something down the line that you'd like to, if you get that big
Funny